Action Point is the latest Jackass-esque film starring Johnny Knoxville in which real people do real stunts. But this time, the movie has a plot. And in this movie, old Johnny Knoxville is telling his granddaughter the story about how he once owned one of the most insane, dangerous, no-rules amusement park that is Action Point. But with low attendance and facing competition, the park is facing closure. So now Johnny Knoxville and friends have to do whatever they can to make sure that the park stays alive, including having a lot of insane, dangerous stunts. And one of the major selling points of this movie is that all of, or at least most, or at least Johnny Knoxville, of these actors are doing their own stunts in this movie that we see in camera, which is one of the major things that they have done in Jackass and in Bad Grandpa. But this time the movie has to balance these dangerous stunts with an actual plot. And does Action Point handle it well? No, not really at all. The thing about the Jackass and Bad Grandpa films are that they are based on the stunts. People go for the stunts, they work hard to make sure that the stunts are funny, and that is what the movie is good at. You don't really care about anything else. As long as the stunts, which are showcased, are good, the movie is enjoyable. But with Action Point, the movie has to balance its plot with the stunts, and the thing is, I don't think it balances it very well. The problem with this movie is that since it actually has to go through a plot, it doesn't have time to set up all of these stunts and actually following through and seeing the impact and having a lasting impression on it. Most of these stunts really come and go so quickly, you don't really know if they were real or if they were just fake or how impactful these stunts actually were. There may be 2 or 3 stunts that the movie builds to and it kind of settles on, and sometimes it can be a little funny. But most of the time the stunts just come and pass, and I think that's where Action Point really falters. Because it doesn't have that much time to settle on these stunts, the stunts are not that funny. And surprisingly, at least compared to Jackass and Bad Grandpa, these stunts are very tame by comparison. And since this is an actual movie with an actual plot, the movie doesn't have time to only make jokes out of stunts. They also have to make jokes with like actual jokes, and sadly, those jokes aren't that funny either. And when you have a movie with not funny stunts and not funny jokes, there's not that really much to support this movie. Because even the plot in this movie is tired, cliched, we've seen it all before, and honestly, it's not that interesting, and therefore, surprisingly, this movie is extremely boring. And I find it weird that this movie is boring because it's less than 80 minutes long. It is a very short movie, which I also find very interesting because, as I said in the synopsis, this movie is about old Johnny Knoxville telling his granddaughter the story, but by the end of the movie, this story within a story actually has no significance on the plot as a whole. You think there's going to be some emotional tie-in at the end of the movie, but it's really just played up for a joke. And this extra 10 minutes add on to the movie felt like reshoots, felt like Johnny Knoxville just doing, hey, a couple more stunts. And when you really take this side story away from the movie, it is probably 10 minutes shorter and takes away really nothing except just extra time and barely any jokes, which makes the action movie probably less than an hour and 10 minutes, which is short, which again is surprising because I found this movie to be rather boring. There's barely any emotional value to this movie. I barely latched onto any of the characters, which I can understand because this is a comedy that just wants to make us laugh with outrageous stunts and jokes, but at the same time, again, these jokes aren't funny, so really there's nothing to really care about this movie. And I think that this really makes Action Point an extremely disappointing movie, especially coming from Johnny Knoxville. For any positives of this movie, I guess you can turn that it's a short movie into a positive so that I didn't have to be there that long. And I'm not going to say that this movie is entirely laughless. I chuckled at a couple of the stunts or jokes, and it looks like everyone's having a good time on set, and I'm not going to denote that the people making this movie had a fun time. If they had fun, good for them. Me personally did not have that much fun seeing this movie, but Johnny Knoxville, good job, still near 50 years old, doing all these outrageous stunts. Good for you. But the thing is, I can always see a bad movie and still be happy that I saw a bad movie. I can recommend a bad movie saying, hey, you might like this, or hey, you might like this part of this movie. For Action Point, I honestly think I can never recommend this movie because there's nothing redeeming about it. The only thing I can think of is if you wanted to just sit down with something stupid happening in the background on your couch for 80 minutes, or you're drinking and it's on and 80 minutes. I don't know, it's a short movie. That's literally all the good I can say about this. I'm sad to say that I did not like Action Point. I thought it could be at least some stupid that I can enjoy, but I honestly found no enjoyment of this movie. It's not funny, it's not that much fun. The stunts being showcased don't have any lasting impact versus the other Jackass films, so you don't really feel the impact or hilarity of these stunts. It's a very hollow movie with basically no characters or emotion, and honestly I felt like it was a waste of my time. I can't really recommend Action Point, and all I have to say is that this movie made me feel ugh. So that's Action Point. Have you seen the movie? Have you not seen the movie? Whatever you think, you can put in the comments below and maybe I'll read it, maybe I won't. Thank you as always for watching, and if you can't tell, I am back home for the summer, so I'm here to review more movies for you guys. But I do have an internship this summer that may take away from most of my movie watching and reviewing time, so I'm not sure of how often I can get these reviews out as I did for last summer. I'm sorry if there are not going to be as many reviews this summer. I'm going to try my hardest. But again, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't, you click my last video right over here, and you can click my upcoming video right over here, which will be up at sometime soon. Thank you as always for watching, and hope to see you next time.